What's going on, PWC fans? It is your host, Frank and the Furious, bringing you the Week 3 Power Rankings for PWC Season 5. Now, Week 3, we didn't see any major risers. We did have one person who did tumble down the staircase, one coach, and a definite shift of power dynamic at the top, but we will get to that when we get there. What's going on, everyone? I'm excited to bring this to you today, and I promise I will get back on schedule soon. It has been busy for me, and I need to stop making that an excuse. So I need to get to work. But yeah, Week 3 Power Rankings, moving on to number 14 to start. Why is it that when something happens in the bottom, it's always these three? So at number 14, we have Coach DTN, coach of the Judging Obstagoons, and it just continues more of a rotten season so far for DTN. I'm going to start this off with saying, fuck you, DTN. And you're probably like, Frank, why are you saying that? Well, what has he done to you? Well, he has personally wasted my time, like a good 10 minutes, watching this stupid battle from like turn 1 to turn 48 is like the same 4 plays over and over again. And I really wanted to die while watching this. This was painful to watch. Very painful. And a part of it that makes this painful to watch is that with Rillaboom, DTN is playing way too risky with this thing, and he is getting punished every single time and refusing to learn from his mistakes. Like, there is one thing of saying, I'm going to smash my head through that brick wall and then accomplish it, rather than dying of brain damage and the wall has barely a dent on it. And DTN is more of the latter right now. Second game in a row, Rillaboom comes in on a Scald, gets burnt. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. Comes in on a Quagsire Scald, gets burnt, and now Rillaboom's kind of done for the battle because it can't do anything to Scarm. It couldn't even do anything before. But he brought a bulky Rillaboom, which, I always forget this. His team for the week was Lycan Rock Dust as signature. Hawlucha, Cobalion comes, Rotom Heat, Rillaboom, and Alomomola. And it takes 48 turns to finally break this stalemate. When, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened, but Gil whirlwinds out something. I think he whirlwind out Cobalion, maybe? I don't know. But he whirlwinds out into Skarmory, or not into Skarmory. Skarmory whirlwinds out into Hawlucha. And DTN, his Grassy Seed gets burnt there, which sucks, rotten luck on his part. But he kind of just starts setting up and going for it, which, like, on one hand, I can kind of respect, because it has been 48 turns of stall. Gil has been winning the war, kind of, not really, but it's just been a war of attrition right now, and it's just been painful to watch, and someone had the nuts to stand up and finally break it. So, as much as I'm going to shit on him for kind of wasting Hawlucha early, he did me a solid, so thank you, DTN, for that. Thank you for the basically the Lucha sack. I appreciate it, because this was painful. But all throughout this battle, he kind of lets Cobalion take a lot of senseless damage, which I really don't understand. Like, he constantly lets it take, what was it, I believe? Just random hits from, like, Quagsire and Skarmory that, like, he was showing throughout this battle. His core of Rotom Heat and Alomomola and Rillaboom was rivaling Gil's stall team, which is impressive, because I hate Gil's stall team. But, he just kind of lets Cobalion take a lot of senseless damage, which I don't really like in this scenario. But it's another week in a row. Rillaboom, he plays risky with it. Back to that. Lets it get burnt again. I think it's really starting to show if that you just kind of stop Rillaboom, then DTN's offense is gone. Because Hawlucha, he's not been playing well with that. Something's got to give. Either he's got to make a change, or he's got to start winning. There has to be one or the other if he wants to salvage this season, because, well, yes, we are only 3 weeks into a 13-week season. Something's gotta give at some point if he wants to stand up and go, you know what? I gotta get it together now if I want to make a wild card. I cannot waste any more games. Something's gotta give. And it's just, I just don't think this is his team watching this, because him playing risky with Rillaboom, like, I understand you're making the play to go in for that resist, but you gotta play for that burn. You gotta play for that burn. And he's just not playing like it. He's just not playing for the burn. That's really hurting him. But yeah, to sum this all up, fuck you, DTN. Uh, this is just a painful match to watch. Oh my god, I had to rewatch all these matches before this, and that was the one match I did not rewatch. So if I'm a little fuzzy brained on it, that's why I refuse to watch this match. I refuse to watch it again. I've already watched it like 4 times. I can't watch it a 5th. I am broken because of this. But moving on to number 13, we got Coach Sully and the Anchorage Appletons. You know what? Like I said with DTN, it's just another rotten season so far for Sully and the coach above him. Sully ends up bringing Zoroark this week as a signature with Vaporeon, Decidueye, Alolan Ninetales. Arctovish gets its debut, which he does make a transaction for. He drops, what did he drop? I'm trying to remember what exactly he dropped. I did not have this transaction down, but he dropped one of his lower picks, picks up Arctovish, which, it's something. That is what I can say. It is, in fact, something. But yeah, picks up Arctovish, and last Pokemon was Mega Lopunny. And beginning with this match, I kind of get a little confused what he's doing. When it comes to Decidueye and Sully, I feel like Sully doesn't... He just sits in and attacks with the Decidueye, like, not making any switches. Like, even when the switch makes sense. Like, it's not like a prediction. It just makes sense. Like, oh yeah, he should switch here. He doesn't. It's just super strange how he's playing, like, Decidueye. Another week in a row, Vaporeon. Like, a Pokemon that should be prominent for him is already dead without even clicking a move, basically. So, Vaporeon, gone, dies to Landorus. His opponent was Coach Caracasa. Sure, yeah, and the grounded Gibbles, just so I can mention. But yeah, Landorus just kind of puts in work here, but like, I don't think it deserved to put in work. Like, as weird as that may sound, I just don't think it deserved it. Okay, so Sully ended up dropping Minior to pick up Arctovish. That was the transaction. Okay, excellent to know. And there are a couple more transactions we'll go over, but we will get there when we get there. But another strange thing I found, no triple axle on Lop. Like, near the end game, Landorus is low. He goes into Lopunny, and he clicks Close Combat. And he didn't even have triple axle on this thing, which is like Landorus is going to be a primary counter for Mega Lopunny. You have multiple Ice-type moves, and he didn't even bring one of them. Didn't bring Ice Punch. Didn't bring Triple Axle. So, what gives? And he clicks Close Combat. Back to the end game. He clicks Close Combat on Landorus. And that basically puts him in range now of Scizzor's BP. A Bullet Punch. I believe it was Banded, too. But he would have lived if he had an Ice-type move and didn't click Close Combat there, basically. So, a strange prep on Sully's part. It's not prep I agree with. I think you gotta have an Ice-type move for Landorus, because that's going to be the primary counter to this thing, and he doesn't bring it. And big negative I have here, Stealth Rocks really screw over his team this week. He had no plans for Stealth Rocks, and it showed. I mean, Stealth Rocks are what enabled Landorus to get the kill on Vaporeon. Stealth Rocks whittled down stuff like Arctovish, stuff like Ninetales, Zoroark. It just really whittled down his team, and Sully's got to get rid of those rocks. I feel like it's been the second week in a row where Sully has an issue with rocks, and he needs to get rid of them. He has decent options for defoggers. I'm not going to say amazing, but like, Decidueye is not terrible. I hate Claydol. but it can rapid spin. I mean, he's got Regieleki with can rapid spin. He has decent options, so he should be bringing them because another week in a row where Stealth Rocks really just screwed the pooch for him. Really just screwed the pooch. But another woeful game for Sully. Let's see how he can do next week. Yeah, the Arctivish pickup. It's interesting. I'll give him that. I'm sad because I wanted Minior to do something, but we don't see Minior. And we see Arctivish. Let's get that Slush Rush under Hail. All power to him. All power to him. But not a Pokemon I am I didn't even know this thing I forgot it existed before Sully picked it up. I'm going to be completely honest, forgot it existed. So yeah. Well, moving on to number 12, we got Coach Firemaster and the San Francisco Celebes. Like the coaches before him. Poor Coach Firemaster. Another bad week. He ends up bringing Aerodactyl as signature with Garchomp, Mega Heracross, Braviary, Ferrothorn, and Primarina. Aerodactyl is... I've been a broken record for the past 3 weeks, and I probably will continue to be a broken record for record. Is resistible? A broken record? Sorry. But I'm going to be a broken record for the coming weeks because I have really hated. Hate's a strong word, but I'm going to use hate here. I have hated Aerodactyl on Firemaster's team so far this season. It just hasn't been good. Another week in a row, it dies doing nothing. Doing absolutely nothing. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. And I just don't know what Firemaster is going to do with this current lineup. Because is it threatening? Yes. Is it very easy to work around? Also, yes. Aerodactyl is also sashed this week, which I don't understand. What are you sashing it for? Like Gengar, Mamoswine, Salamence? What are you sashing this thing for? I don't get it. Gardevoir? I don't get it. I don't get it. The Firemaster in his Aerodactyl play, I've not been a fan of. And he had very weak prep for Salamence because Salamence ends up getting off a Dragon Dance. And it's kind of a strange, couple of plays where Tenchi ends up getting off multiple Intimidates off on Garchomp, goes into Salamence, and then proceeds to take 88% from an Outrage. Which is just absurd how strong Garchomp is that it hit that hard with 2 Intimidates. 2! So yeah. But Tenchi, not Tenchi, Firemaster, Salamence could have won the game for Tenchi at that point if he had Flamethrower, basically. Because Ferrothorn became the primary switch-in to Salamence, and Firemaster was kind of wary to go out to Primarina, which it's really just going to show that his bulk is just very easy. Oh, excuse me. Firemaster's bulk is just very easy to get around because it's so far and few in between. And Ferrothorn is gone to Salamence. Salamence just kind of wall breaks Firemaster's team. And another big issue I had with Firemaster's play this week is he lets Mega Heracross get burnt. So Incineroar is at 15 HP. This is right after there's a double down between Salamence and Ferrothorn, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was those two. Double down between them. And Tenchi goes into Incineroar. Firemaster goes into Heracross. If you're Firemaster, the play you go there is killing the Incineroar. Because if he gets off a Parting Shot, or worse, a Will-O-Wisp, or a Fire-type move, that's very bad. But he doesn't. He goes for knockoff. On one hand, I kind of understand if you think Tenchi's gonna pivot out to Gengar, but you gotta play kind of what's in front of you in that scenario. And he lets Mega Heracross gets burnt, which kind of just completely seals the game for Tenchi, in my opinion. I think that's when the game was sealed. So I think there was still a chance for Fire Master, but from that point, it was a lost cause. It was a lost cause. We don't really see much out of his team, and an Ndidi female, Spec that just pretty much finished off Fire Master once Pharaoh was gone. He didn't not a lot of hope for Fire Master this week. It was just a bad matchup all around, and like I think the Fire Master's team. I keep saying this, but broken record. It needs changes. It's another week in a row, third week in a row where I look at this matchup and I say this is a bad matchup for Fire Master, and I don't think it's just because he's getting unlucky. I just don't think Fire Master has a well constructed team, and it's really showing here. It's really showing where stuff like Ndidi female is putting in work at the end game, or Salamence is wall breaking despite being on like 12% HP, and if he had one move instead of another, then it wins from that point basically. And I believe Tenchi could have fit on Flamethrower. I believe he was DD 3 attacks, but yeah, just I do not I don't like how Fire Master is not making any changes. And I think if he wants to salvage his season, just like the coach number 14, he's got to make some changes. Something's got to give. Either he's got to make some changes or he's got to start making some big wins. And I don't mean like getting a couple wins and losing a couple. I mean he's got to go on a run if he wants to salvage this season. That is what I'm saying. But these three coaches right here, I kind of think are all in the same position. All of them are in dire need of a big change to their team, or they got to figure something out fast. That's what I'm going to tell them, because if they drop to 0-5, then it's a 13-week season. So you got to win then 8 straight games if you want to have a shot for playoffs. So it's becoming an uphill battle for these coaches, and hopefully they make some changes, or they finally restructure their strategies and say, all right, we're doing this instead. It's not working. We got to go in differently. But moving on to number 11, we got Coach Reckless and the Awesome Ducks. Ends up playing Keto this week, the Empoleon Conquerors. Reckless ends up bringing Alolan Marowak as his signature. Tornadus T, Mega Altaria, Rotom Wash, Mew, and Type Null. And this was painful to watch if you were rooting for Reckless, because Reckless had this battle in the bag if he just switches one move. And that is on his Mega Altaria. There is a point in this battle where Mega Altaria has the chance to win, but it just doesn't have the chance, because Reckless, he ends up bringing a DD Mega Altaria set, which looks really good against Keto. He ends up bringing, I believe it was Facade, Earthquake, DD, and the last move was Dual Wing Beat. And I cannot emphasize enough that he should have brought Roost over Dual Wing Beat, because one, I don't think Dual Wing Beat makes any sense in this matchup. Like, maybe for Zarina, but still, if you get up, believe 2 DDs, you're killing the thing with Facade. Hitmonlee, same thing. Like, doesn't even matter. Like, and Dual Wing Beat doesn't get around Hitmonlee's Endure, which Keto does bring this week. He brings the Endure reversal set again. But I will say, though, early in the match, he does an excellent work of getting rid of Empoleon, because that seemed to be a big corner piece of Keto's team that really stopped Reckless. And kind of trading Alolan Marowak for Empoleon there, I believe, was the good play. And he ends up going for Substitute when... So one thing that really has been driving me crazy with Keto is I feel like Keto's trying to make a lot of predictions he doesn't need to, because Keto ends up going into Mega Absol on the Empoleon Death, and he switches to Sylveon. Like, I can understand what he's trying to do there. He's trying to make a prediction. Okay, you're not staying in with the Alolan Marowak, so I'm going to try to get some momentum. But it makes absolutely no sense. If Reckless were to say click Flare Blitz there, then Sylveon takes a lot of damage. But, I'll get to Keto when I get to Keto. I'm talking a little too much about Keto right now, but I got some gripes with this match. This was not a pretty match. This was not a pretty match to watch, but I think if Reckless has Roost and continues to set up with Mega Altaria, he wins this battle no problem. We're not talking about Reckless is back down being below 500. Let's see if he can salvage the season. We're talking about excellent win by Reckless, upsetting one of the higher ranked coaches. Let's see if he can start putting more wins together and really challenge for a top 3 positioning. If he just changes one move, this is a completely different battle. Because Latias was just it was the Pokemon of this battle. It was the Pokemon of Week 3 for a reason. It was a Pokemon of Week 3 for a reason, and this showed. But, like I said, he kills the Empoleon with Alola Marowak. And with Marowak, he clicks sub there on Mega Absol, which I kind of I do understand if he thinks Absol is going to click Sucker, but I think I would have just personally clicked Flare Blitz there because nothing on Keto's team can really take Flare Blitzes anymore. I guess Latias, but it's still going to take a lot. It's still going to take a solid 40, and if you die there, then oh well. You're going to bring him down to a good amount, and I would have attacked there instead of going for sub. I understand what he was doing, but I think the attacking play is just preferable. I think since you're kind of admitting, yeah, Alola Marowak's kind of done for this battle right now, then just go for a kill there. Just put on as much damage as you can. Keto's team can't really heal up as well outside of Latias, and even then, you're probably getting off a guaranteed 30-40% on it at the minimum, and then you go into something like Mega Altaria. But yeah, I think you should attack there. And letting Mega Altaria and Mew both get weakened for Latias was really kind of foreshadows what happens in this battle. He should have definitely at least kept one of them healthy because you got to think a stored power set is possible. Because once stored power gets going, it is difficult to stop. So you gotta be careful with it. And Reckless quite literally played a little reckless with his 2 major threats towards Latias. But like I say, I'm just going to really emphasize that he should have had Roost on Altaria. And one massive misplay that really sets this battle against him is when he ends up switching into Rotom instead of Altaria on Latias to paralyze it. I kind of understand what he's doing there, but at that point, I think I'm just going to go and put on a lot of damage on it because Facade's going to be doing a lot. I don't know if you saw he was a bulky set, but you would have outsped it because he was a bulky set. So you're going to get off a guaranteed 70%, and then Torque comes in for the kill. He played a little too... He let Latias get the free setup. Excuse me. He let Latias get the setup and kind of just start going ham. But that's enough with Reckless. I mean, it's a week you drink to forget. And I'm going to drink some of my water. That it's a week you drink to forget. A tough choke at the end, but he can bounce back out of this, hopefully. Bounce back, get some confidence, because I think it kind of showed in the end game that maybe he didn't have the confidence that he needed. Maybe he didn't have the confidence. Moving on to number 10, we got a massive faller this week. Drops 5 spots, and that is Coach KW Dog of the VA Litwick. It's just been miserable for KW so far, to say the very least. He ends up bringing Nidoqueen as signature with Urshifu, Tangrowth, Darmanitan, Noivern, and Mega Banette. And KW, like Keto, but we'll get to Keto later. I think he's jumping the gun a little bit too much with predictions because he's in on Nidoqueen against Jellicent. Jellicent has taken 48% from a Thunderbolt, and it is above 48% HP. And Keto ends up clicking Ice Beam, which is predicting the Zygarde switch in, which I can understand a little bit, but one, you have Tangrowth. You shouldn't be worrying about Zygarde. You have a Tangrowth. And yes, it was a Coil Zygarde set, but that would be a risky play for Prof. I think that would be a very risky play, and Jellicent kind of has no reason to not stay in an attack or click recover at the minimum. Like Jellicent, you're not forcing Jellicent out right now. So I get the play he's making there, but that wasn't the play. That was not the play. Clicking Ice, he should have just either clicked T-Bolt there, or what I feel he should have just switched out. Nidoqueen kind of getting sacked brought up another major problem for him, but we'll get to that. And he does have some unfortunate misses in this battle with Hurricane on Noivern, Hurricane on killing a Mega Medi, but in the end it didn't matter because Noivern was in range of a Specs Raikou, which Prof ends up bringing this week. And once Nidoqueen was gone, you could just see in KW's game that Specs Raikou just won. It just smacked things hard. And he just didn't have an answer for it. But I will give him compliments. At the end of the battle, he ends up having a sub-Belly Drum Darmanitan set, which is very interesting. I would like to see him bring a Belly Drum Darm at some point because you don't see that very often with this Pokemon. So I would like to see it, but he didn't have his EVs correct, so where a Florges Moonblast could still break a sub, and still there, I don't agree with bringing a sub Belly Drum Darmanitan for this because you see a Zygarde, you see like an Arcanine which could be Flash Fire. Or like Intimidate, and no, actually not Arcanine. What am I talking about? Darmanitan is Earthquake. What am I talking about? I'm crazy. But like Mega Medi, which outspeeds you, it's just Raikou, which outspeeds you. There's just a lot of. I don't think this was the match for it. I don't think it was the match. Mega Banette it had the week where all right, this is where you start to question its effectiveness because it just died. It just kind of died, and it was like Ghost type attacking was still pretty decent in this point in the match, but in the end, I just think KW was kind of out prepped. I mean, Zygarde ended up being a sub coil set, and KW did not have a real shot of beating it outside of Ice Beam Nidoqueen, which he plays a little too aggressive early and gets punished for it. So KW maybe he should have considered Zygarde. He should have had at least ice coverage on something else. Maybe brought a different mon, but I just think he got out prepped, he got outplayed, and he got into his own head. I think that's my summary for this battle. Like KW may have gotten into his head a little bit too much in this match. But yeah, that is number 11. Moving on to number 9 is the victor against KW. That is Coach Prof. Prof this week, Coach the Begone Thought Kricketot, ends up bringing Arcanine as his signature with Mega Medi, Florges, Raikou, Zygarde, and Jellicent. Now, Prof played pretty well. Prof played pretty well. Prof didn't play flashy, didn't play too flashy, but he played just well enough to make Raikou such a massive threat for KW, getting rid of Nidoqueen, capitalizing with Jellicent. You know what? Just saying, if I'm going to trade Jellicent for Nidoqueen here, I'm okay with that. I am perfectly okay with that because then this swings the door open for Raikou to end up really packing a punch. Because, yeah, Tangrowth was his only other option outside of that, and I don't believe it was an Assault Vest in Tangrowth. So still, 6 moves from Raikou. You're not going to want to really take him too much, but it kind of showed KW wasn't really going into Tangrowth anyway. Kind of wasn't, so yeah. This, Prof really capitalized with Specs Raikou removing Nidoqueen and the sub-coil Zygarde. I mean, we only got to see it for a little bit at the end, but I will like to say, excellent bring. It could have done more if it had the chance, I would like to say. It could have done more if he had the chance. So, yeah. Florges ends up being a Kibia Bear this week, which I would like to say good play for for Urshifu, the potential poison jab, which I would also like to say, kind of risky. Kind of risky, because Urshifu could also run Iron Head, I believe, so kind of risky to run Kiwia Berry, but maybe that wasn't the primary reason for it, so... But either way, he ends up getting a little lucky, but you gotta be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, and this occurred for Prof this week. Mega Metacham, I've been I've been on the fence with Prof's play with Mega Metacham so far, because it really hasn't put in the work you think it would. So I'm a little wary on his Mega Metacham, but potentially, maybe he's just not been too comfortable with it so far, and he's starting to figure it out, learn it better, how to exactly play with it. So that too, but Prof just played a solid week, and if there's a coach that I think can start rising up, it's Prof. I feel like I may have underrated him a little too much last week, but this week, Prof ends up jumping up to 9. He may rise in the future. I can definitely see it. He's got a fun team. He's definitely playing. He's playing well. Like you could see in his vision, getting rid of Nidoqueen was important for him because that allowed Raikou to really start to come into play. So Prof, he's definitely playing intelligently. So I'll give him that. I will give him that. But yeah. Coach Prof at number 9. So moving on to number 8, we got Coach Karakasa, and the Grounded Gibbles jumps up 2 spots. And another coach that I think may start rising a lot is good old Karakasa here. This week he ends up bringing Mienshao as a signature with Mega Swampert, Politoed, Scizor, Tapu Koko, and Landorus T. And I would like to say good job early removing Decidueye, because Decidueye could be a major problem for Swampert, especially if Sully was Yachi. And I don't remember if he was. I think he might have been, but he might have also been leftovers. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but good play nonetheless. Get rid of Decidueye, because that could have been a major problem if you're playing for the Mega Swampert sweep and suddenly it lives an Ice Punch. Decidueye lives an Ice Punch. So Mega Swampert ends up putting excellent work in this week, I believe. Wait, not Swampert. Scizor puts in excellent work this week, I would like to say. Ends up picking up 4 kills this week. And Karakasa, you know what? He really capitalized with Stealth Rocks this week. Stealth Rocks were big for him, because the negative I had for Sully, Karakasa, excellent play getting up rocks early and making sure they stay up for key mons. So it really affected the battle and really helped give him the win here. But Karakasa ends up winning big here, playing very well. I don't got too much to say because this was just an overall domination. He ends up finding Zoroark, removes it. Scizor puts in massive amounts of work this week. Ends up picks up the kill against Lopunny after a CC defense drop. Picks up the kill against Arctovish as the last one. I think picked up the kill against Zoroark and Ninetales, I believe, were the other 2. So, you know what? He capitalized with Scizor, saw it had a good matchup, and ran with it. Got rid of Vaporeon early with Landorus. Good play there. And you don't really need to see any of his big Pokemon this week, like Swampert and Tapu Koko. You didn't need to really see them. So, excellent work by Karakasa. One thing I'll give him credit for is that you have these 2 major threats, and you kind of made your opponent forget about a hidden third threat, and that is definitely a mark of a good battle there, mark good prep there for me, not good battle, but I mean good battle as well with good plays, but mark good prep there. Is that allowing Scizor to kind of fly under the radar and really just pack a punch against Sully. But yeah, Karakasa, I mean, I don't got too much else to say. This was just an overall excellent week. Like Prof, if there's a coach that I think is going to start shooting up the power rankings, Karakasa can be one of them. He definitely can be one of them. So I look forward to watching his battles moving forward. But moving up to number 7, we got the coach who refuses to budge, and that is Coach Gil, coach of the FC Bikini Pilsen. And I would like to start this off by saying, fuck you, Gil, for this fucking battle that I had to watch. Ends up playing DTN. God, this battle was painful. Check it out yourself in the description below if you really hate yourself. It's just painful to watch. But, yeah. Yeah, so this was painful until turn 48. But I would also, I would like to say, you know what, Gil, I hate stall, but Gil's kind of playing pretty decently with it. When he's on his game with stall, then it's tough to beat him. It is tough to beat him right now. Maybe he hasn't been challenged enough, but then maybe as well, he's just playing very well. So excellent work from Gil there. I would like to say he has an elite Indeedee nickname with Trap Goth Boyfriend. Excellent nickname. Pretty elite. This week, my bad, he ends up bringing Savali, Zoroark, Mega Diancie, Skarmory, Quagsire, and Indeedee Male. So yeah, Gil really capitalized on DTN, or he didn't capitalize on DTN, but like he got lucky with Rillaboom. He kind of quote unquote capitalizes by getting the burn on Rillaboom with Quagsire and Scald. He also plays very well around Halucha, kind of just stopping it right then and there, keeping Skarmory healthy so you can at least still have that sturdy, and just kind of making sure that, hey, I'm not losing to you right now. So if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. So good plays with Skarmory there. And he had a lot of good late game plays. Like, especially with Zeraora, his late game plays with it really kind of seal the match, in my opinion. Plays very well with Zeraora. And Scarf and Didi, thank goodness, it finally broke the stalemate. I would like to say, thank God. I hated this match. The less I can talk about this match, the better. Pretty much. The less I can talk about this match, the better. I just hated this matchup. But, yeah, late game, ends up making good plays. Mega Diancie, he ends up switching out against Alamomola, which I was a little confused about. Then he said he was looking for the Mirror Coat. So, good play there. He ends up not having Mirror Coat, but definitely good play to scout there because, I mean, you don't want to lose Mega Diancie at that point. You don't want to lose it. But uh, yeah, good overall plays by Gil this week. Once that stalemate broke, it was Gil who kind of broke the stalemate, and I think whoever broke that stalemate was going to win that match. And it was Gil who broke the stalemate and really just capitalized. So good work by Gil. Yeah, I mean the major part of the stalemate was kind of just getting Rotom Heat toxic, and DTN wouldn't let him. So if definitely good play by Gil there to kind of try to capitalize on DTN, maybe trying to switch up the stall. Like I'm really trying my best to give compliments here, but I just hated this match. I'm trying my best. Please give me credit. I hated this match. This was a tough one to watch. But yeah, that's enough with Gil. That's enough with him. Moving on to number 6, we got Coach Keto. And good old Coach the Empoleon Conquerors, Mr. Bailed Out by Latias. That is what I'm going to, this is what I'm going to start with. Keto got bailed out by Latias. I would like to say this should have been a loss. By all accounts, he should have lost this match. And he didn't. He didn't. Latias. I mean, I gotta say, good prep on his part. Bring a sub called Mine Roost Sword Power Latias to sweep. Good prep on his part, but he did not play like the coach who should have won, in my opinion. Because, like I said earlier when I was talking about Reckless, I think Keto's trying to play a little too cheeky. He's trying to make predictions when he doesn't need to. Like with Absol, like early on when Empoleon dies to Alola Marowak, which I'm not going to fault him too much over because that was more good prep on Reckless's part. And, I mean, what are you going to do with Alola Marowak when your water type is also weak to fire? Or not weak to fire, but takes neutral from it. So he had to find a way to deal with it somehow. And getting a Scald off on it and weakening it, I can understand that being the play. But then going into Absol and pivoting straight to Sylveon, like, that's a very risky play with not a lot to gain. And Reckless ends up going for Substitute there. But if he clicks Flare Blitz, then Sylveon is either potentially dead or weakened a lot. So Keto's playing really. He's like KW. They're trying to make predictions where you shouldn't, And I think that's one thing that showed here. He should have just went for the kill with Mega Absol. Yeah, if he switches into Mega Ult to salvage a little Marowak, then like, oh well. Like you gotta roll with the punches, and you're playing a little too fast, playing a little too fast, a little too quick. But he had it wasn't the only double because versus Mew, he ends up going with Absol. He can get the kill there, and then he goes out to Zarina as Mew clicks Ice Beam and then kills Zarina for free. Goes out to Absol and then finally kills Mew. Once again, that is where it really punished him. Like while the first play didn't punish him, this punished him. He shouldn't have made that double. That was very confusing to make. He should have just went for the kill there. Like he's trying to make plays where there are none. And if you're reckless, you're not going into Mega Altaria there because, like, yeah, you may take a knockoff well, but you got to play the Absol might have Iron Tail because it definitely makes sense for Absol to have Iron Tail when you're looking at a Mega Altaria. So, like, you gotta just go for the kill there. You can't make these strange doubles that don't really result in much gain from you. And like, if you're going out to Zarina, what do you think he's going out to? Run him wash? What is the play you're making there? I just don't understand. But like I said, gets bailed out by Latias, I would like to say at the end. I mean, I literally have it in my notes as a pro, capitalize with Latias, and then a negative. Kind of bailed out by Latias because it was a story this week. Yeah, definitely good prep, but I don't think Keto should have won this match, in my opinion. I don't think the right coach won this match. I don't think he played well enough to deserve the win here. And I would also like to say the Hitmonlee set, it's cool, but you can't keep bringing the same set over and over again. That's what I gotta say. You can't. It's becoming kind of predictable. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of this week. If there's a team that I made sure that I wouldn't move Keto up the standings because I don't think this win deserved to be moved up a placement. So Keto remains at 6 because of that. But yeah, this week, Keto got lucky. Keto got lucky, and not because of hacks or anything. He kind of got lucky because his opponent shot himself in the foot. Actually, I don't even think his opponent shot himself in the foot. I think his opponent took a shotgun and blew off both of his legs. That is what his opponent did, basically. Not just the foot. It's the whole leg. Both legs. Legs gone. You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Reckless. Moving on to number 5. Moving on to number 5, we got Coach Jules of the Umbreon Calcio. And not forever be Umbreon Calcio, but we'll get to that. Ends up playing the New York Metas this week. And tough week for Jules. He brings Gligar, Machamp, Aerodactyl, Clefable, Escavalier, and Suicune. And speaking of Jules, he makes a transaction this week in which he drops Vikavolt and Obstagoon and ends up picking up Mimikyu and the aforementioned Machamp, which I can only assume was kind of for Capitor to pressure Melmetal. So, kind of a little bit of prep there. Also, did I mention this or no? Okay, sorry. That's next week's transaction. Okay. My bad. But Jules here, you know what? Didn't have prep for was not ready for a Calm Mind Taunt Finny, which is like it's kind of standard now. Like CM Taunt Finny, it's not too CM Taunt say Surf and Draining Kiss or Scald or whatever. That's pretty much the standard right now, so not being prepared for that really was confusing. Like for Clefable, he ends up being Magic Guard over Unaware, which, like, I Unaware was more threatening here because Tapu Fini can't set up with CM. I mean, Meloetta can't set up. Like, I would prioritize here I would prioritize Unaware, especially when your opponent is setting up Misty Terrain for you. So I don't think Cap's going to run Toxic on a lot of things. So I think Magic Guard over Unaware was confusing, and this match really showed that Wish Clefable has become a problem. Jules is getting a little too cheeky with Clef because Wish Clef is just not cutting it out. Wish Protect, like, you have access to soft boiled. I can understand wish passing, but I think instead of protect, you should just have soft boil there. You should just have soft boil. Like, what? But I would like to say he ends up having good pressuring with Machamp, ends up picking a kill up against Miltank because Cap really didn't have an answer for it. He did not have an answer for Machamp, and Jules put on the pressure with it. But the one thing that really defined this match of between the two was Escavalier going to keep its assault vest and stay healthy? Because this was going to be Jules' primary answer for a CM Tapu Fini. And Cap ends up playing excellently to guarantee that Escavalier can never get a wish and come in for free. Because there's a few turns there where Clefable and Meloetta are looking at each other. And Clefable sets up Wish, and Meloetta clicks like Psyshock. And then Cap clicks Knockoff, kind of preventing Escav from even coming in. If Jules kind of says, all right, I'm going to get Escav healthy up here, you can't touch me. You don't have a fire type move. Where Cap's like, yeah, you can come in, but you're losing your item, which was an assault vest, which was big. So, between that little war of attrition between Jules and Cap, Jules wasn't able to win that one. And Mega Aerodactyl, I think I said Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl ended up bringing, I don't know why I just said Aerodactyl, but Mega Aerodactyl, it has debut, doesn't really do anything. Doesn't do anything. Suicune was end up being a Reflect set, which I can only assume is for Melmetal. So, yeah. I think like a Crocune set could have been really good here. Like, I understand there's also a Tapu Fini on the other side, but if Tapu Fini's gone, Crocune looks fucking mean. So, like, Suicune wasn't the best it could have been. And I would still like to say, Jules' defensive core of Gligar, and Clefable, and Suicune have been pretty well here, and I think if he switches around a couple of his sets, Jules wins here. Because it's just gone to show for a lot of coaches, this is a tough D-core to break. And Jules is playing excellently with it. So props to him with that. If he changes, I just don't think he brought the right sets for them. So if he brings just even standard sets, right sets, then Jules can win matches just by stalling out his opponents with Suicune, Clef, and Gligar. Just excellent work by him. But yeah, you know what? It was a battle of heavyweights this matchup, so I can't really drop Jules too much. I can't fault him too much, but losing 5-0, especially to a very preventable set, if you would have just made a little bit more prep for it or not let Escav get very weakened, like, that's kind of what brings him down for me this week. Not good plays there. But moving on to number 4, we got coach of the Shonen Blacklist, Tenchi. This week, he ends up bringing Incineroar as a signature. With Mamoswine, Salamence, Gengar, Delmise, and Indeedee Female. Now, I would like to say, right before we get into this, Tenchi ends up making a transaction. He ends up dropping Bolton to pick up Dreadnought. That's what it is. Which is an interesting trade. I would like to say, very interesting transaction. Like, just kind of a strange transaction, I would like to say. Like, I'm not really a fan of Dreadnought. It doesn't really seem that good. So dropping Bolton for that, like, I think you could have swapped Bolton for other things. I think you could have picked up a little bit more bulk, but yeah, ends up picking up Dreadnought. We don't see it here, though. I would like to say this week, Scarf Gengar was excellent. Let me just say. Good work by Scarf Gengar to really just pack on damage onto Fire Master. And you know what? Gengar and another special Pokemon really put in work this week, and that is Indeedee. Indeedee was a spec set and ends up just cleaning house once Ferrothorn is gone. Fire Master did not have an answer to Expanding Force, and it showed because it just picked up the kill on 3 straight mons to finish the match. But starting off the matchup, he ends up getting up Stealth Rocks, which I would like to say, excellent use of Stealth Rocks. Arrow was Sash, so he breaks the Sash there. Just gets good chip on things like Braviary as well. Mega Heracross. But yeah, good chip. But he ends up with Mamoswine. He ends up letting it get chipped, which kind of causes Garchomp to become an issue. Because at that point, Tenchi's only really big way of dealing with Garchomp was getting a couple Intimidates off and Salamence then killing with Dragon Claw after Dragon Dance. But it still took like 88% from an Outrage at -2. So yeah, he should have kind of kept Mamo a little healthy, at least just the pressure with the Ice Shard. Because Ice Shard still looks really good in this matchup. And Mamo also looks really good. So I don't agree with letting it get chipped. But, overall, just very good prep for Tenchi this week. Very good prep. I mean, the Specs Indeedee was a good find. I mean, I have not used Indeedee, so I would not have thought about it. So good prep on his part to realize, hey, this thing looks pretty good. And Scarf Gengar, good utilization. Good job getting up Stealth Rocks. Not too much to say, but overall, good week for Tenchi. Good week for Tenchi. Well, moving on to number 3, we got Coach Capital of the New York Metas. Ends up bringing Meloetta as a Saintro with Melmetal, Mega Gallade, Tapu Fini, Kyurem, and Miltank. Now, working as a negative for Jules, works as a positive for Cap. Excellent work weakening Escavalier. That was Jules' only real way of dealing with a CM Fini. So getting rid of that, not getting rid of it, but getting it weakened enough and not letting it come in for free. Excellent work. And knock off a Meloetta, good play as well. Ends up getting rid of Clef's leftovers and threatening to get rid of Escav's Assault Vest. So good play there. And Tapu Fini. Excellent work by him. Ends up bringing Taunt, Calm Mind. I believe it was Grass Knot and Surf was his 4. Ends up bringing that. Ends up getting able to get Taunt off on stuff like a Suicune, Clefable, stuff that can maybe kind of hinder, Tapu Fini from doing things, or Suicune from clicking Roar, because I believe he did have Roar. So, you know what? Excellent work by Capital for kind of planning an end game here. You know what? You could definitely see with him weakening Escavalier that he had an end game in mind. That was Fini. And I think one thing that Cap is capitalizing on, yes, I did say that, is a lot of teams are really prepping for his major threats of Melmetal and Mega Gallade, and he's capitalizing with a little of his lesser-known threats, like Tapu Fini. Last week it was Meloetta. So, Cap, you know what? I think he's really showing right now why this team was ranked number 1, because it just has threats from all angles. Kyurem doesn't even hit the field, but Jules still has to worry about that potentially because, when Escav was weakened, that allows Kyurem to be pretty decent, and Suicune wasn't a Calm Mindset. So I believe Kyurem was Freeze Dry. So Cap's team just has threats all around, and a little negative I have, it's not really a negative, I was just kind of confused, is why did you not Mega Turtle 1? I don't get it. I don't know why he didn't Mega for a Mega Drain Punch, but he doesn't with just normal Gallade, leads with it, and then just doesn't Mega. Bold decision, Cotton. Let's see if this one pays off, but strange set of events. So yeah, strange set of events. But yeah, Miltank ends up kind of doesn't get a lot of spotlight this week like it did last week. Kind of gets sacked to the champ, because one negative I had here is Cap didn't really prep well for Mega Machamp. Oh my. I want a Mega Machamp now. It just has 8 arms. Just spider crawl everywhere. I don't know what was in the iced tea today for me, but I'm a little psychotic. But yeah. But yeah, just excellent work by Cap this week. I would have brought him up higher if we did not see a battle of heavyweights up here, but we will get to that in a minute. Yeah, Cap, good work this week. Excellent work. He's definitely playing like a top 3 coach, I would like to say right now. We'll see if he can continue it. We'll see if he can put more wins together after a kind of a tough week 1. Yeah, Cap is rising up the rankings. But moving on to number 2. The battle of heavyweights. 1 and 2 played each other this week, and at number 2, sadly, we have the loser of the battle, and that is Gert Bilbo, coach of the Old English SQ. What a match! I would like to say this was an excellent match. Definitely, I would describe this as a chess match, or just like it was like if you watch baseball, it was like the World Series pitcher versus the batter. It was a chess match, just a complete like excellent plays on each side. They're both making good plays. They both had good prep, but at some point, something has to give. And unfortunately, a crit ends up going Trinell's way, which I would like to say Trinell's the luckiest goddamn bastard known to man, because his superior, for some reason, is just has like it snorts cocaine. It is covered in bright powder, because everything you click against this thing misses. As Gil has said, Aerial Ace will probably miss against Superior. So yeah, like coaches can't catch a break against his Superior. As I've written in my notes, Superior, master of wind, because you can't land hurricanes against this thing. But yeah, Gert Bilbo, I mean, he plays very well. And I would like to say, kind of risky for him with Zapdos. He ends up missing the first Hurricane with Superior and sees that is his magic coat. And then clicks Hurricane again. Which, that is a bold play by you, Gert Bilbo. That is a bold, bold play, I would like to say. To see the magic coat and go, yeah, I'm clicking it again. You're not clicking it again. Excuse me, I don't know what is going on with me. I got a lot of air in my system. But yeah, he ends up having a little bit of bad Hurricane luck. But I mean, bad or good, depending how you look at it. But I think one thing that really showed for this battle is that Gert Bilbo did not have a way to break Porygon 2 and Milotic. If there's a D-core that rivals Jules, it is these two. Milotic and Porygon 2 have just been outright difficult to beat. Because Gert Bilbo, his major way of, what he told me is one of his major ways of beating it was knocking it off with Crook, but Trinell wouldn't let that happen at any single point. And nothing on Gert Bilbo's team would be able to kill both of them. It was one or the other, and Trinell was just playing excellently around it. Yeah, no successful way to break it. And one kind of negative I'm going to have here is that Spectrier should have had Dark Pulse, or at least the move to touch P2, because it ends up having a sub Shadow Ball, Taunt, and I forget the last move, but was it Will-O-Wisp? I don't know. But he should have had Deep Pulse on there, I feel. It just, if he was able to touch P2, then maybe this is a different match. But because the storyline of the matchup we'll get to is good old Buzzwole, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Gert Bilbo losing Zapdos to a crit Stone Edge, that sucked. Because that was going to be his major form of dealing with Buzzwole, and gone without, gone, reduced to atoms. But yeah, it was just bad luck, and he ended up needing 2 decent rolls with Hurricane on P2. It would have killed it. He ended up having some bad luck there, but a little bit of bad luck on Gert Bilbo this week, but this was definitely an excellently played match. And yeah, he ends up having a Scarf. Actually, I didn't mention his team. He ends up having Spectrier, Zapdos, Crocodile, Swampert, Metagross, and Mega Venusaur. That was his team this week. And he ends up being a Scarf Crocodile, which kind of became more of a liability than anything because it wasn't really able to really start putting in work, because Milotic will end up being a Flamor Marvel Scale. Marvel Scale. So couldn't really break it. It was just, you know what? He just got out prepped, and but I don't think that's. I think he just got out prepped. I don't think that's any fault to his play. I think, you know what, his opponent just had the better prep, and it just showed in this matchup. It just showed. But moving on to number 1, the newly crowned Week 3. Crowned Week what? What am I talking about? The newly crowned #1 position for week 3. That is Coach Tranell of the Turbingen Trevenon. Oh, bulk up Buzzwole was excellent this matchup, and Tranell capitalized with it. The only threat was Zapdos, and he ends up getting rid of it. A little bit of luck, but you got to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, as I always say. And P2 and Milotic have just been unbreakable. And another characteristic I see with Tranell's team that I see with Cap's team is with Tranell's team, you know what? You see massive threats there like Dragapult and Mega Mawile. It makes you forget about all the other. It makes you forget about lesser known threats like Serperior. He's putting good work with. I mean, Buzzwole, literally here, bulk up Buzzwole. P2 Milotic is just super unbreakable. It's just Tranell. He's playing to his team's strength. Like, I don't know what much to say to this because this excellent match from turn 1 to last turn. Long match, but there were multiple long matches this week. Some were more enjoyable than others, but this one was enjoyable because it was just a chess match between two grandmasters for this battle. Two heavyweights going back and forth, determining who is the best team in the league right now, and Coach Tranell comes up on top. Excellent prep by him. I don't know if the match was ever in jeopardy once Zapdos was gone. Tranell just played solid. He didn't play flashy. His prep won him the battle. He just had to play. He just had to play normally. Just had to make the standard plays with his prep, and he would win. And he did that here. So yeah, P2 Milotic defensive core. If there was an award right now to give the defensive core of the year, I think I would give it to Milotic and P2. These two have been amazing together, and I'm interested to see how they continue to fare in the future. Dragapult, I don't even think got to click a move this week. Maybe it clicked one. I don't know. This thing hasn't clicked moves at all. It just, Tranell has played so well that Dragapult doesn't need to play good. Doesn't even need to play it. But yeah, that is the week 3 power rankings. I would like to say this was a fun week to watch outside of Gil and Coach DTN. Fuck you guys. But yeah, thank you all for watching. It has been Frank and the Furious. Check me out on the channel. My channel below is in the description. All the battles as well. I would like to thank you all for watching. But above all else, stay cute out there, all my PWC fans.